It doesn't scream. It doesn't bruise the skin. It doesn't bleed, but it kills, slowly, silently. It's gossip. If you're watching this right now, it's not random. You were guided here because there's something you've been feeling, and you're not imagining it. You walk into a room and the energy shifts. Eyes dart, smirks appear. The air gets thick with tension, but no one says a word. You hear your name in conversations you were never part of. Friends grow cold. People avoid you for reasons you can't explain. And deep inside, you start to wonder. Did I do something wrong? Why are they treating me like this? You didn't. They are. Because gossip is a weapon, a spiritual dagger disguised as a whisper. And right now, it's being used against you. It doesn't matter whether it's happening in a high school hallway, an office lunchroom, or a gym locker room. The setting is just a backdrop, because what's really happening is deeper, energetic, spiritual. Gossip is a shadow frequency. It's what the weak use to tear down the strong. When people can't touch your spirit, they'll attack your reputation. When they can't reach your level, they'll try to lower you to theirs. And this kind of attack doesn't just aim to hurt you socially. It's meant to destabilize you spiritually, to break your focus, to make you question your worth, to drain your prana, to make you dim your own light. But you're here now, because your soul knows better. It's remembering. What you're experiencing isn't random. It's a sign. You're not going crazy. You're being targeted because you carry light, because you carry codes, because you're waking up. And the Matrix hates that. Gossip is a parasite. It feeds on attention, drama, and projection. It thrives in low vibrational spaces, locker rooms, break rooms, back rooms, DMs. It spreads in shadows, but its source is always the same: fear, envy, and weakness. This is spiritual warfare, and one of its most common tactics is the whisper that wounds. Let's go deeper now, into the psychology of gossip. Why do people do it? Why do some seem to wake up every morning looking for a new name to drag through the dirt? It's not because they're strong. It's because they're powerless. See, gossip isn't just words. It's an energetic transaction, a ritual of the weak, dressed in small talk and smirks. The ones who gossip, the whisperers, the rumor spreaders, the sideline critics, they're often trapped in lives they secretly hate. They feel small, so they try to make others smaller. They feel invisible, so they try to make you disappear. For a moment, gossip gives them a high, a hit of fake power. When they say your name, and others lean in, gasp, or nod, they feel important. But it's not real. It's not rooted. It doesn't heal their pain. It just feeds their shadow. Energetically, gossip is a psychic hook. It's a kind of spell, cast with words, soaked in envy. It's designed to siphon your light and pull you into their frequency. It wants your attention. It wants your reaction, because your energy is the main event. And when you give it back, when you defend, explain, or retaliate, you're stepping into their arena. You're giving them what they crave most: control over your narrative. But here's the spiritual truth: they don't get to write your story. Even scripture calls this out. Proverbs 16:28 says, "A perverse person stirs up conflict, and a gossip separates close friends." Because gossip doesn't just aim at you. It aims at your connections. It isolates, it severs, it divides. It's a tool of the adversary, subtle, sneaky, and devastating. But if you understand it for what it is, spiritual warfare disguised as social drama, you stop falling for the trap. You stop letting flying monkeys pull your focus. You stop letting projections live rent-free in your mind. Because the truth is, if they're gossiping about you, it means you're important. It means you're being noticed. And in many cases, it means you're being watched for your light. Now here's the part that stings. Gossip doesn't just randomly choose its prey. It's precise, calculated, intentional. It seeks out the ones with open hearts, the ones who carry light in their eyes and softness in their presence, the ones who feel deeply, who reflect the world around them without even trying. In other words, empaths. Empaths are emotional mirrors. When someone stands near you, they start seeing themselves more clearly. And if what they see inside is ugly, insecure, or shameful, they'll blame you for it. They'll want to shatter the mirror. That's what gossip becomes, a weapon of projection. They throw their pain at you and hope it sticks. They whisper lies to try and distort your reflection, not just in the eyes of others, but in your own. And here's what's even more twisted. They want you to react, to flinch, to cry, to get angry, to spiral. Why? Because your emotions feed them. They're not just gossipers, they're energetic vampires. They poke the empath, hoping to tap into that rich emotional field, to stir it, shake it, and drink from the chaos. Because in their empty inner world, your light feels intoxicating. You become the scapegoat, the chosen target, the one who gets blamed so that they don't have to face their own shadows. But here's the deeper truth. They attack you because they feel your power, even if you haven't fully claimed it yet. Your peace threatens their need for drama. Your authenticity exposes their masks. Your intuition, it scares them because it sees them. So they'll do everything to distract you from your gifts, to confuse you, to pull you down to their frequency. Because if you rise, they know their game is over. And now, it's time to show you how this plays out in the real world. The gym, the rumors, the whispers, the puppets of Stalker. Story time. Let me take you into the battlefield. Imagine walking into a place meant for peace, discipline, and transformation. A sanctuary for the body and mind. But instead of support or solitude, you're met with whispers that pierce like daggers, with stares that strip more than just your confidence. This is not a gym anymore. It's become a stage for spiritual warfare, a battleground where your integrity is on trial, and you're fighting enemies you can't always see, because they wear smiles. There is a man who stalks me, not just physically but energetically. He spreads venom through whispers and smirks, dragging my name through the dirt with rumors so vile they twist the air around me. He's told people I've sent naked images to children, an unthinkable lie, spoken with a kind of performative power, as if slander gives him life, as if by attempting to destroy mine, he can inflate his own. At the gym, this distortion echoes louder. One personal trainer, emboldened by the poison, stands tall in the middle of the room, raising his voice for all to hear. He doesn't whisper, he performs, talking loudly, proudly, spitting the ugliest accusations with a grin so wide it mocks the truth. He smiles like a hyena in a feeding frenzy, not just content to attack, but needing an audience for the spectacle. And it doesn't stop there. The receptionist joins the dance, thin, wiry, bouncing on his toes like a child who's just told the juiciest secret. I've seen him laughing, jumping, radiating this twisted joy as he mocks me. His energy is manic, gleeful, like tearing someone down is his favorite workout. I become the target of their theater, a projection screen for their insecurities, their need for control, their hunger for power. They stare at my body like it holds answers. Has he gained weight? Is he still strong? What's his secret? Must be drugs. They watch me like voyeurs of failure, obsessing over my form, my silence, my resilience. Their curiosity isn't innocent. It's invasive. It's the predatory stare of those who need to destroy anything that radiates strength or peace, just to feel in control. This is what spiritual attack looks like in the modern world. It wears name tags and gym clothes. It laughs in the face of decency. It gossips instead of confronting. It thrives on groupthink, on lies spoken loudly enough to drown out truth. They think this is power, to ruin a life with whispers, to plant seeds of doubt in the minds of strangers, to assassinate character with a smile. But I see it clearly now. Their behavior isn't just toxic. It's desperate, because my presence, my truth, shakes something in them. My aura disrupts their illusions. My silence confronts their chaos. I don't need to shout. I don't need to retaliate. I walk in with the demon hand ready, but tethered by the Buddha heart. I feel the pull of righteous anger, but I channel it. I don't burn. I refine. They think they're strong because they can speak loudly, but true strength is holding your ground when the world tries to erase you. True strength is walking through fire and coming out cleaner, not colder. So I continue my practice. I train not just my body, but my spirit. I stay lit. I stay rooted. I remember who I am, and I remind them, without a word, that I am not afraid. Because this, too, is part of the sacred path, the Heyoka path, and I was born for it. Sometimes, they picked the wrong one. They think you're just another empath, another soft soul they can drain, another sensitive they can whisper about without consequence. But what they don't realize is, you're not just an empath, you're a Heyoka, the sacred clown, the divine mirror, the one who doesn't just feel energy. You flip it. Heyokas are the spiritual wild cards. You carry the medicine of contradiction. You reflect the truth so sharply, so clearly. It stings. You confuse the matrix, because you don't react how they expect. Where others cry, you laugh. Where others flee, you stand still. Where others defend, you observe. And in that stillness, you let the projection boomerang back. They thought they were attacking a victim, but what they triggered was a cosmic backlash. They gossiped, and suddenly their own secrets started unraveling. They mocked you. And now they're the ones being watched, because Heyokas are mirrors with teeth. You don't need revenge, you just need alignment. The universe handles the rest. Think of Loki, the Norse trickster god, or the coyote in Native American myth. These are Heyoka spirits. Not evil, not cruel, but corrective. They show the hypocrites who they really are, not through anger, but through irony, through reflection, through the divine joke of karma. And so, the flying monkeys dance thinking they're winning, until the mirror tilts and they see themselves. Not the version they present online, not the alpha, not the smiling face behind the counter, but the insecure puppet behind the whisper. Because this wasn't just a rumor, it was a war. There's a silence that doesn't mean surrender. It's not defeat. It's not avoidance. It's the sound of something ancient. Awakening. Because when the empath has been mocked, drained, baited, and betrayed, over and over and over again, when their light has been tested in every fire, when they've swallowed their tears and smiled for peace, when they've tried to reason, to understand, to hold space for others' wounds, and it still wasn't enough. Something changes. The empath begins to burn. But this isn't ordinary anger. It's not a tantrum. It's alchemical rage. It's fire with purpose. The empath who has gone quiet is no longer playing by the rules of the 3D world. They've entered a sacred space beyond the reach of manipulation, where energy doesn't lie and masks begin to fall without a word being spoken. Because when a dark empath awakens, they don't chase vengeance, they become the consequence. You see, empaths are emotional barometers. They feel the weather of your soul even when you're smiling. But a dark empath, the one who's been pushed too far, tested too long, mocked too deeply, they become something different. They become a mirror no one can escape. You can lie to your boss. You can fool your friends. You can manipulate a room. But you cannot lie to the mirror. And a Heyoka is the mirror. They once tried to keep the peace. Now they let the truth speak. They once absorbed energy to keep others safe. Now they reflect it back tenfold. Their silence is surgical. Their distance is sacred. Because they're no longer defending themselves. They're letting karma assemble its storm. And oh, what a beautiful storm it is. When the dark empath goes silent, karma begins to write poetry in thunder. You'll feel it in the way the whispers start to circle back to the gossiper, in how people suddenly start seeing through the charm, in how alliances fracture, secrets surface, and energy shifts. Not because the empath did anything, but because they finally stopped absorbing what wasn't theirs. They unplugged, they unhooked. And without that psychic fuel, the matrix began to collapse on itself. Because the truth is, you can't destroy someone who was never playing your game. You can mock the mystic. You can insult the sensitive. You can corner the quiet one. But when the Heyoka goes dark, you've invited divine justice into your own home. You've pulled the sword from the stone and pointed it at yourself. And suddenly, the empath doesn't need to fight. They only need to be. Their aura becomes the courtroom. Their peace becomes the testimony. And the universe becomes the judge. So if you're feeling that urge to explain yourself to those who twist your truth, don't. If you're tempted to clap back with receipts and rage, pause. Because something more powerful is already moving. A rhythm written by stars and silence. A justice deeper than your voice could ever carry. Let them talk. Let them circle. Let them think they've won. And when the reckoning arrives, they won't even realize it was their own hands that built the altar. The dark empath doesn't destroy. They illuminate. And in that light, no shadow can hide. Karma doesn't always arrive wearing thunder. It doesn't always kick down the door or strike in dramatic flames. Sometimes, karma walks in quietly, dressed in synchronicity, timing, and truth. You may look around and think, but they got away with it. They lied. They turned people against me. They smiled while I bled. And the world didn't flinch. But listen closely. Karma is not about speed. It's about precision. Gossip may win the moment. It may gather claps from the crowd, thumbs in a group chat, snickers in a hallway, fake smiles in the locker room. But gossip always loses the war. Because gossip is built on illusion, on smoke and shadows, on words that were never rooted in soul, only in fear, projection, and ego. And what is not built in truth cannot stand the test of time. The words they whispered in darkness become the echoes of their own downfall. Those who cast stones will eventually walk barefoot over the shards, not because you cursed them, not because you fought back, but because truth has a gravitational pull, and lies eventually collapse under their own weight. So what does an awakened soul do? Do you fight? Do you chase justice? No. You do something more powerful. You cut the cords. You release the hook. You stop dancing with their shadow. You hand it to the universe, not in bitterness, but in wisdom. Cord cutting is not just a spiritual ritual. It is an act of energetic sovereignty. It says, I reclaim my space, my power, my light. I don't need your apology to heal. I don't need your downfall to rise. When you do this, when you transmute the pain instead of recycling it, you exit their karmic loop, and the universe begins to balance the scales. Justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's watching their mask slip slowly, watching the charm no longer charm, watching alliances built on gossip begin to rot, watching the people they manipulated start to see. You were never the villain. Karma doesn't need you to explain. It already witnessed everything, every whisper, every smear, every fake laugh, every setup, every energetic theft. And now, it remembers, not for revenge, but for equilibrium, because the soul of the cosmos has only one true desire: balance. So let them talk, let them laugh, let them lie. You focus on healing, on radiating, on rising, because that's what spiritual warriors do. We rise without needing to destroy. We walk away, and the room we leave behind begins to collapse under the weight of its own deceit. They won't even know why their life starts to feel off balance, why the connections they had turn sour, why their own insecurities return with force. But you'll know. It's not vengeance, it's physics, it's energy, it's divine law. When you forgive, you don't say what they did was okay. You say, I trust the universe more than I trust my pain. And that trust, that's where true power lives. So cut the cords, transmute the ache. Pray not for their downfall, but for your own ascension. Because while they were throwing dirt on your name, you were being planted. And now, you rise. Not as a victim, not as a fighter, but as a vessel of cosmic truth. And karma will do the rest. Don't waste your fire on cowards who speak behind your back. That fire is sacred. That fire is alchemical, meant to transmute pain, not fuel petty wars. Those who gossip, who plot in circles, who stir cauldrons of rumor and shade, they are not worthy of your flame. They are moths pretending to be dragons. They confuse smoke with power. But you carry the real fire. The kind that doesn't just burn, it cleanses. Your aura, it speaks louder than their lies. It walks into rooms and rearranges atoms. It unnerves the fake. It awakens the asleep. It burns illusions with truth. That's why they whisper. That's why they conspire. That's why they target you. Not because you're weak, but because your presence reminds them of what they're not ready to face. To the chosen ones, to the mystics, to the seers, to the Heyokas, to the sacred mirrors walking in human skin. Let this truth burn through every shadow they tried to wrap around you. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be real. And realness? It scorches fake friendships. It incinerates manipulation. It sets fire to the masks people wear to hide their wounds. You are not here to play nice. You are here to transmute darkness into clarity. You are here to trigger awakening, not applause. And in doing so, you will rattle cages. You will be misunderstood. You will be gossiped about. Let them. Because every time they speak your name with venom, they activate a karmic seal. When you gossip about a child of light, you invite divine correction. And karma doesn't shout. Karma whispers in synchronicities. Karma writes in closed doors, lost opportunities, spiritual sickness, and eventually, silence. Ice, cold, silence. So don't chase revenge. Don't dim your flame to fit their comfort. Don't give your story to people who were never meant to hold it. Let your aura do the talking, because those who see you, truly see you, will know that your silence is power, and your existence is a living rebuke to their shadows. If this message hit your spirit, if you've ever been the one whispered about, misunderstood, targeted for your light, know this: you're not alone. You're part of a tribe, a rising of mystics, of flame keepers, of divine disruptors. If you want to go deeper with me into spiritual warfare, empathic protection, cosmic downloads, and soul alchemy, join our tribe on Patreon, patreon.com/mystical illumination. There, we go beneath the surface. We talk real soul talk. We protect each other. We evolve together. Because in this realm, real recognizes real. And always remember, you are the fire, not the ashes. Never the ashes. Stay sacred. Stay untamed. Stay lit, mystics.